Okay, so before we get into chapter 24 of Gachiakuta, just want to apologize to you guys for the lack of uploads. You know, depression can be a bitch. And it gets even worse when you feel like you're unappreciated. So I just want to let y'all know at any point in the day, make sure y'all appreciate yourselves and know that you're always appreciated by yours truly. Now let's get into this chapter, because I ain't gonna hold you, this chapter was actually kind of sick, right? Actually, it wasn't kind of sick. Let me take that back. This chapter was super sick. Not only did we have a Harry Potter reference on the fucking main page, right? Like on the first page, shit was super tight. We also learned a bit about Rudo, right? Like a bit about his ability. We did a deep dive on his ability essentially. And then that last bit of seeing the enemy boss, right? It's kind of strange. Right? Same design as Rudo's gloves, Watchman series. I'm gonna get into a little bit of a theory that I had, and you know, we'll get into that. But anyways, as y'all know, it's your boy xDomoSenpaix, the Gachiakuta enthusiast, the manga enthusiast, the anime enthusiast. I am all those things. And if you guys are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, make sure you go down below, hit the link in the description or the red subscribe button. Either one to help me towards that cause of reaching my goal, which is to get to 10,000 subscribers. That was my original end year goal, but who knows, we may or may not get there. But as I said, we started this off learning a lot about Rudo. So we were checking his ability out to see if we could figure out how in the fuck this thing works. Because all we know is that he can transform things into his Jinky, right? Like that's his ability as a giver. He can just transform other things into a Jinky, but we don't know how to do it. So we spent a little time trying to figure that out, and Zanka ends up coming to the conclusion like, yo, you was originally like taking care of garbage, right? Like garbage was your thing, right? Maybe it only responds to broken things. And it's crazy, if you look at the panel before that, Engine already fucking knew, right? Engine already knew. He knew that Zanka was gonna figure it out. And that ended up getting Engine to bring out a whole bunch of trash, and y'all saw Rudo just light up, bro, because that's something that he's been doing since we've met him, right? He's been taking care of garbage, fixing it up and selling it on the streets because he felt like what they were throwing away above wasn't really trash. And it's crazy to think about it even further that Gachiakuta, if you want the Google translation, Gachiakuta literally translates to trash or garbage, one of the two, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if Rudo was to name his like ability garbage or whatever, but I think he would come up with a cooler name than that, and we'll get to that a little later because they end up showing that. He picks out from the garbage, finds something that looks like a fucking saw, and he uses his ability on it, right? Like he transforms that shit into a Jinky, and you know, everybody was like, oh, that's sick. And here goes Engine, right? Complimenting Zanka like, yo, your interpretation was spot on, not bad, as expected of a trainer. And we all know, right? We all know how much Zanka looks up to Engine, because from what we know, Engine's like this high-ranking dude, right? Like he's a very important pillar in the janitor circle. It would make sense for Zanka to look up to and admire this guy, and whenever he's complimented, he takes that shit to heart like, yo, the Engine is saying this shit about me? What the fuck? So Rudo ends up trying it on all the trash, right? And interestingly enough, he literally transforms all of it until he catches a fucking nosebleed, bro. That shit killed me because I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? He can only do it for so long, or maybe use so much of it before like he exhausts all of his ability. And Engine pointed that out. He was like, the quality of your gloves as a Jinky is great, but your body can't seem to keep up with it, which is why he has to train. You know what I mean? That's exactly why he has to train. That's why they got that fucking gym in the janitor facility, right? They know in order for your body to keep up with your mind, you have to train the body. You know what I mean? That's like natural law type shit, you know? Engine even like further elaborated on that shit, because he goes on to say the ability to reflect this depends on the experience and mindset of the user. So when we're talking about experience and mindset, we know that battle experience is key. Experience in using these things is key. And then when it comes to the mindset, that's where the training comes in. Not only physical training, but mental training. We're gonna be seeing a lot of grueling training training arcs coming up soon for Rudo. Maybe even next. Maybe this was the start. Who knows? And Zanka, he continues to amaze me with how intuitive he is, right? Because he was like, certainly if you've been using it with care since childhood, the quality is probably good, but does it really affect the body this much? And that makes me wonder, right? It makes me wonder if the trauma that Rudo experienced as a kid, getting his hands burnt by his dad, if that shit has some sort of semblance as to like what the fuck happened, right? And Zanka was just like, does it have anything to do with the series? And all we know so far is that it's a part of a string of fucking gloves that have came out, right? It's called the Watchman series. And the one who knew that was Jabber, of course, who is a villain. But we'll get to that a little later. We also learned that the potential reason as to why Griss's amulet fell apart is because, you know, it served its purpose. And that was something that Rio elaborated on. She said, because you have the ability to maximize the value of things that people throw away that are broken and no longer usable, right? I wonder if that means like they no longer have regrets. It served its purpose, so it's just like, all right, I don't need to do this anymore. And of course, Zanka even thought about that, like, that's right. When the fight finished and Rudo felt at ease, that's when it fell apart. And when we look back on that, that's exactly what it was. The fight was over. Rudo was like, okay, I'm done. And then the gigantic Hamza fucking fell apart, right? Like, that was kind of crazy. One of the things that made me happy about this as well is the fact that Rudo got over the notion that, you know, he destroys things. He thought that he broke Griss's amulet, right? Like, he thought that was his fault. He's like, I can't believe this. My ability destroyed this thing. And Engine eventually came through and cleared it up and was like, you know, maybe that's a part of his ability to maximize the value of trash and broken items and then consume them to fulfill their function. He even let him know, like, you didn't destroy Griss's amulet or anything else you've weaponized. It was an incomplete combustion. You just exhausted all that was left until the very end. So again, this is something that we remember from very early on, right? Like, he maximizes the value of trash. He brings out the value in trash. It's something that he's always done since we've known him. Remember in the flashback with Regto? And then we learn about the name, right? Like, Rio asked, like, those glove series, what was all that about? And we go into all that. And we look at everybody else's name and like what their Jinkies name is. We have the Ripper with Rio, that's her scissors. We have the Unbreaker, the umbrella in which Engine controls. And then we have the Love Stick. We've known that since we fought Zanka early on. And then this is where we get into the deep shit, right? Because these words, I feel like Kei Urana at this point is hinting at everything that's to come, right? We see Jabber and the little shorty get back to wherever the fuck they went to and seen the boss, right? We saw the boss and he looks fucking agitated. All you hear him say is the janitors, the city of arts, Desert Altar, Jinky series, Watchman series, Rudo. Now, this could mean a multitude of things. This could mean a fucking multitude of things, bro. So let's start off case by case by case, right? So the janitors, obviously that's the crew that opposes the Vandals, right? We get that. That's where Rudo is. The City of Arts. What the fuck does the City of Arts refer to? Is that heaven? Is that heaven? Is that like the super clean town, right? Because if we look back at heaven, it seemed kind of artsy, right? It seemed kind of artsy. Desert Altar. What the fuck do you guys think the Desert Altar refers to? If you guys want my opinion on what the Desert Altar refers to, I think that refers to where the lady in the Forbidden Zone stays, right? Like, I think that's where Rudo fell. That's what I'm thinking, right? There's a specific place where, you know, sky people fall and they consider that the Desert Altar. That's what I think there. I can literally go on for days about this, but bro, when I tell you, it made you think, did it not? I'm very curious as to like what else we're gonna figure out about this. Let me know what you guys thought about this chapter down below. Like I said, we're on break for 2 weeks, so I'm gonna get to working on other videos and I'm gonna get to working on reviewing the other works of art that Kei Urana has produced, which is Nokase, even though it's not translated yet, and Shikido, which is fully translated, which I'll get to eventually. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. I'm so hyped to figure out the connection between the boss and Rudo, bro. I'm so so fucking hyped for that. I'm thinking it's like a father-son thing because all we know is that his father fell down, and then all we know is that only one person has fallen from the sky and survived, right? Like this just can't be a coincidence, you know what I mean? But with that being said, leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And as always, it's your boy, xDomoSenpaix, and I will catch you guys in the next video.